You're listening to Life with DJ Sessions right here on WCSUFM.org.
Thank you again for tuning in on another episode of Life with DJ Sessions. My NMLS number is 271823. Today we've got a special guest, Kemo. Kemo, you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, my name is Kemo A'akhutera. I'm a serial social entrepreneur, Afrofuturistic Generalist, and the founder of Trap House as well as ModFab.
Nice. It's funny because this is a conversation that needs to be had, and it's already been had, right? And so Kemo and I came to, when did we meet? It was 2018, 2017, yeah. Because BDG, you got invited, and then and the energy's there, and you've always had a passion for moving, helping people and moving the culture forward. And so today, we're going to talk a little bit about what you do in the reference of a lesson in financial empowerment and kind of the whole theme of the show, right? And I'll obviously chime in on how we're going to work together, right? So talk a little bit about your plan, right? Like tell the audience kind of, a little bit of, kind of what you do and really frame it in a way that, that people can say, okay, and then make them want to ask another question about it, right? And then we're going to answer all those questions here today. But, I know I have design to build here, but I know you've got other things that you're involved in. So kind of paint the picture for us.
For sure. So my goal has been since about 2003 to work on liberation efforts through economic empowerment.
Right.
So it's been studying these different mechanisms that influence our situation, our standard of living, etc., and creating systems to replace these existing, outdated, they're very extractive and dilutive methodologies for our living standards.
Right.
And I believe that, we can do it ourselves. We have everything we need.
Right. You break it down paradigms. Well, that's okay. Oh, wow. So that's deep. You may want to, go back and rewind that if you didn't understand his bars he just spit. So wow. So then, okay. So what are some applications or what are some tangible things that we can then do given that vision that you have?
Absolutely. So things such as, the fact that 95% of all Black businesses only have the founder themselves as the only employee. So we have a lot of sole proprietorships, and we talk about, where are the jobs? Well, the jobs are created. 90% of jobs, to be exact, in this country are created by companies that have 5 employees or less.
Yeah.
So people, don't really grasp the idea that it's not Amazon, it's not Walmart, it's not these huge outlets that we think about, these sprawling corporatocracies. We really have to create those jobs within our community. Nobody else can do that for us. So, for example, helping those founders shift their mindsets to not just think, oh, okay, I'm worried about being a self-employed contractor. As long as I get the bag, I'm good. But really understanding entrepreneurship is about solving problems,
right,
and improving, the standard of living for all people, and not just all living things. Like your goal as an entrepreneur ideally is to make the world a better place with whatever you create and provide.
Right. And then going back to that 95% of just being one, you build your team, build the employees around your vision.
Yes.
And so having done that, what are some things that people can do to try to help manifest that? Like, how do you go from that mindset of, okay, it's just me getting the bag, but then, hey, I need help, let me expand my team, let me grow my employment so I can help build not only jobs for the community, but it helps you get done what it is you're trying to do.
The things that would be best, in my opinion, in my experiences, mentors, advisors, first and foremost, which are severely lacking in our community.
Right.
We don't have a large network, established kind of communities around this. Let me help give you a hand up. Everybody assumes that we want a hand out, and a lot of us are really looking for those ways to address these things. But once again, it's like, where do I go? And so Trap House was created as a mechanism for that, because I didn't see anything else out there that really did a good job of it. You talk about SCORE, it's been lackluster to me. My experience with SCORE, no knock. Maybe some people talk about they've had a great experience with it, but as a younger black man,
that's right. In fact, I was a SCORE mentor at the time. We weren't by. You were assigned to a different person. We're not going to say that person, but I remember because I was helping people. But to your point, that now getting to know the Trap House piece, that relation, and so. Wow, so it's like an ecosystem to help. Wow, so you would think there'd be trap houses all across the country.
That is the goal. That's the goal. That's what we're working towards. Right. The reality matter is, people talk about like Booker T and the great things he did, and I feel like one of the lesser known facts about Booker T is he was the founder of the National Negro Business League.
Right.
And it coincides when he founded the first one in 1901. It coincides with that period being considered the golden age for black entrepreneurship. So from 1900 to 1930, that 30-year span was, the golden age. But simultaneously from 1900 to 1930, the National Negro Business League was thriving. And so people don't understand that really he created the mechanism where you could go into any small, medium, large city. By 1915, I think there were 600 locations. You could go into any small, medium, large city. It was almost like a green book for black business owners, where it's like, do you need mentors? Do you need funding? Are you looking at employees, material, supplies, whatever you're looking for, real estate? You could go into that city and they had the beat on everything. So they could help you maneuver almost like an underground railroad for entrepreneurs, so you could thrive as a black business owner. And when he passed away and the National Negro Business League started to decline, that's when we left from the golden age of black entrepreneurship. Wow. So there are other versions of that though, because then I think of like the Minority Center. There's are there other versions of that? Not on the level what he was doing. Because when
not like a trap house or something.
Not like a trap house, exactly. Because when he did that, there were no chambers of commerce. He preceded the first U.S. Chamber of Commerce by 10 years.
Oh yeah.
So he gave the impetus.
He almost gave the blueprint for that.
Absolutely. But we do that all the time.
We do
same
that.
With the Panthers and the free breakfast program.
That was
They created that, and then it got taken.
That's very good. Now I did not know that Kemo about. I know it's funny you read these stories about Booker T and the folks in the past, but understanding that they were in a lot of the things that we take for granted today. Absolutely. So then you kind of put that in the same context. Okay, well, we're trying to then also bring the culture forward in the sense of, here's what we're talking about with Trap House, and I'm even thinking how even BDG can kind of plug right into that, like already the ecosystem that's already going. So it's almost like that's a resource within the Trap House.
Absolutely.
Right. And then it's even with this, literacy show. So let's talk a little bit about design to build. Right, or is that still Design to Build?
We're shifting the name to ModFab just so it's a little bit more appropriately accurate.
You said MyFab?
ModFab, so Modular Fabrication Incorporated, abbreviated, so ModFab Inc.
And for people who don't know, kind of in your words, what is a fab home, and now what are you what are you referring to, and kind of give people kind of just a high level of the type of homes or structures you're talking about.
Absolutely. So modular fabrication is literally building infrastructure, buildings, in a way that they can be added to later, be moved, they can grow with you, almost like an organic organism, where you can start with a single structure and add on to it later. And we're using shipping containers as our building medium or our structural system. So, our approach is there's containers everywhere.
Right.
This is a trend that is not new. It's, well over 2 decades old at this point.
Okay.
But it's just slow to market here in a place like Dayton and landlocked places. We don't really see as much innovative architecture or real estate approaches. So really bringing what's already been kind of cutting edge and still considered cutting edge, but it's not the newest, latest, and greatest. But to us here, people are like, oh my God, did you come with them your own? And I'm like, no, this has been around for, decades now, years, but we just don't know.
It seems like we got to bust through, right? Yes. I mean, and so this is part of where you kind of, so now, how does then someone, when you look at what the type of structures that you're talking about, let's talk. And I'm a numbers guy, right? So I always like to kind of look at, what does it cost and what is my net, what's going to hey, I want to build this structure on a land, right? So would you prefer someone either buying their own land and building wherever they want, or are these going to be communities set up where there's kind of, a set amount of properties that are going to fit this model?
Both ends. So, we definitely are exploring doing our own development work. However, we also encourage people to buy land and come to us as micro developers, if you will. They don't have to be a huge outfit. they can come with, themselves or a couple other people, friends, family, business partners, and say we want to get a piece of land and build our own 4-home community.
Right.
And that's, again, a trend that's happening in larger cities. It just hasn't happened here yet.
Right.
But you hear about it going on in Atlanta, LA, New York, where people are creating these little enclaves. Yeah. They aren't huge, sprawling subdivisions. They're creating smaller 5 to 10 home communities.
And it goes back to the root, like we're creating solutions, right? Yes. I mean, that's what an entrepreneur does, and that's what they do. So and I'll try to tie into something like this. So what would something like that cost to build, and not including the land? Let's say the land, $25,000, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. It could be more or less. You thinking what, $150,000 for one of these structures?
Yeah. So for our 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom model, 720 square feet.
So we got 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Yeah.
$150,000 plus $25,000 for the land, so that's $175,000. If we were to kind of break that down, right, for a construction to perm project, so 5% down, right, which is about $87.50, which leaves your loan amount of about $166. So so
you still need to do site dev. You still have to do
site dev. What site is that? Site development.
Site development. Yep. So getting the site prepped if it's not already. One of the ways you can hack that is, for example, they're tearing down 1,100 homes in the city. Yeah. So, I've had the, thought that why can't we take and do infill building on these, demolished home lots? Since they already have the infrastructure there, they already have utilities ran, it's much easier to just within the zoning that exists, put a home within that zoning.
Right, yeah.
And it's easier to...
So then the code, though, the city's code that should allow for those structures to be built.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that would be a good question to know then, I guess.
Yes.
Because that solves the problem, right?
Absolutely.
And you don't have a vacant lot, you don't have blight in the neighborhood, you've got something there.
Yes.
And what I was trying to get at when, right before you said that was, well, what is, someone's like, well, what is my monthly payment, right? People always, when they're having that conversation with me, and I was, on a 30-year loan, about 6.5% rate, APR, that's about $1,050, right? You had some taxes and insurance in there, PMI. You're looking at about a total payment, $1,250, maybe $1,300. But for essentially a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath structure. And so nice. All right. So there's a way we can help each other as well, right? So I like that. We're trying to solve problems. We're trying to move, the conversations forward in any way we can, and I love that you dropped the knowledge about Booker T, because sometimes we forget that there is a lot of foundation already made out there. We just we're benefiting of it. Yes. But then we're also trying to push it forward. So we've got Trap House, we've got the Mod Fab Inc. Anything else you want to mention that you're involved in?
Yeah, so we also have, a venture fund that will eventually launch. And again, this is all meant to be an all-inclusive ecosystem. So oftentimes people are like, why do you have so many things that you're juggling? And they aren't these random things like we have a knitting company over here and a shark catching company over here. It's not these totally...
So they all fit an overall theme.
Absolutely. And the venture fund really pushes that end of these these entrepreneurs and these developers, real estate investors, they need the funds to do the work they're doing. They need venture capital that literally allows you to take that adventure. So we have to create the mechanisms. We have an in-house pipeline of businesses that are scaling and real estate projects that are coming to fruition.
Yeah, that does tie right in.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Ties right in.
So then are you trying to raise funds through a series where you're done becoming an actual investment fund that then can get traded? That's kind of what Jay Morrison did down in Atlanta with the truck. Because I did actually invest in that in that fund, and I think it's Treff.
Yeah.
So is that kind of Tulsa real estate? Yeah. That's why, and so I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, is that kind of similar to what you're trying to do with the fund? Okay, nice.
And the difference is with him, and it's no knock, but he's buying existing structures. Our goal would be, hey, you're getting in on new land development. Okay. So we're giving people a chance to say, hey, we can have our hands in multiple projects, and it's not just seeking existing structures. It's saying, hey, we're building an apartment building over here out of containers, and I want to be in on that. I want to put some skin on the game. Or if we have a business that's going viral and it's got the employees, we got them set up in Delaware. They're offering stock shares. They have a crowd fund. I want to invest in this crowd fund, but we have a pipeline of those businesses and a pipeline of real estate projects where people can take their pick. Hopefully there's something nearby, somebody nearby where they can go and visit that potential investment opportunity, and really starting to create that community engagement or community involvement in entrepreneurship, because it's a team sport.
It is.
And I feel like people are like, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur, I don't want to work with one. Well, that's fine. If you want to see jobs improve in the community, if you want to see the tax base rise, you have to support business owners in your community.
Yeah, you got to be a part of the solution. I love it. I love that we're really knitting to the nitty gritty, because it really does show how the communities are evolved and how they improve, and this really is on the ground level.
Absolutely.
This is really good. I had another thought as you were speaking on something. It'll come to me later. Okay. Oh, Startup Engine. That's what I was thinking. Yes. Are you familiar? Because I was trying to think of a way that, because you're right, because you kind of have to kind of either not necessarily join the mainstream, but in a sense of kind of see what they're doing to kind of help plug what you're doing into that.
Indeed.
So and it takes these conversations too. I mean, I think this is part of why we're here talking about it.
Absolutely.
All right. So anything else?
I mean, I could keep this.
I know we can.
Oh man, but we really have some great things coming down the pike. We're teaching entrepreneurship right now through Trep House with our Trep 101 workshop.
Okay.
So we teach at charter schools, we teach at community centers. We got some things going on with workforce development programs, community college. Even talked about doing something here at CSU with somebody, not in CSU, but somebody told me CSU was starting an entrepreneurship kind of training program, and they're trying to come up with a curriculum, and that person was like, well, what if I just introduce you? You already have it. So we're really trying to install our programming on that one workshop amongst a plethora that we have, kind of as the kind of first foot in. And the goal is to build community in these different silos. So we start to tear down these silos, because we can start to have group dynamics. Where each group we're doing these trainings for, we start to invite them to convene. Like we did a do tank last week. Okay. And the whole purpose of that, one of the team members in Trep House was like, I want to do a think tank. And I told him I've been wanting to do something around that for years, but I didn't want to do a think tank. It would have to be a do tank. If Trep House was going to be associated with it, it would have to be centered around doing. So
the action piece. That's funny you bring it up, because action is what gets things done.
Absolutely.
And you're right. There's a lot of talk, and there's a lot of, and even the whole notion. I was having a conversation today with someone about this, about of us all still getting on code, right? Because I feel like that's really where a lot of this is all coming from, where we're still. We're kind of still spread out. You mentioned silos, and you mentioned kind of we're all over the place, and that's true. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see where the conversations have evolved to, and a lot of the solutions that you're bringing to the table. And it's funny, because I even know that I'm thinking about, wow, I'm kind of also sometimes in my silo, and how you and I we're parallel on a lot of things. I need to be more intentional about even doing things or finding commonalities where we can work together, which is why we're here now, right? Yeah, so, but wow, okay, so you've got so you have a team then of people that are helping you and helping you kind of okay. So how can people find you, get a hold of you? I mean, what are some they always say throw out your handles, I guess. So
IG, I'm definitely on IG at Kemo KEMO.OMEK. So my name and then period, my name in reverse. So you can find me on Instagram there. If you type in Kemo in
IG,
Facebook, you'll find it. If you type in Trep House Design to Build, until we do the branding update, you can find both of those on Instagram and Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. So just really, I've worked to really make sure our presence out there in the social media world is healthy, and I'm still, continue to improve on that.
That's right.
We are all over the place.
Oh, nice. Man, this was good.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you again for tuning in, and thank you.
You're listening to Life with DJ Sessions. Special thanks goes to Wade Oberlin of OnOurOwnRadio.com, Charles Fox, K-Divas Music Media, and the BDG Network. For more lessons in financial empowerment, stay tuned right here on WCSUFM.org for more Life with DJ Sessions.